好，欢迎收看好玩吧 That's well play。那当然呢，我觉得这句话 That's well play 应该对所有呢，就是到 ProQuest 还不是 Pro Tour，所有已经经历了 ProQuest，然后顺利的晋级到 Pro Tour 的新加坡的玩家呢来说哈，他们真的表现得非常不错。今天呢要访问的这一位呢，那我知道他很谦虚，他一直说，没有嘞，我不是6个当中很强的那一个。但是我要说的是，他至少有一个很强的记录在自己的身上。我先不要破梗，那让我先欢迎呢，就是其中一位新加坡的代表，那就是 Jin。Welcome Jin。
Hi, yeah, thanks for having me on this. Yeah.
No, it's really my honor because I can't be there. And then you guys is like the frontier for all the Singapore FAB players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so you got the invite through ProQuest or actually from XP?
So I got the invite from XP, but I also played in the ProQuest. The closest I have gotten was the one at Bricks Play, where I top 4 a ProQuest. So to go through the ProQuest winning road, they have to win, but I only made top 4, so I actually qualified through XP because I play a lot of armories.
Yeah. All right. So how is it like grinding the XP through weeks and weeks of armories?
Well, I think because Singapore has a lot of game stores that hold armories, so it's actually pretty easy. The timing also works well with my work hours, and generally I try to plan it out such that like almost every day I am playing in an armory of the week.
Yeah. So I was interviewing Barry, and then I was saying that for this small sunny island, right, I think the density of armories going on in this island is massive. Like you say, you can plan it out there so that you can play every day.
Yeah. So I actually talked to some of my fellow Pro Tour competitors about their own region, from where they are from. How many armories do they normally have? And most of them is just 1 or 2 in a week, because like the country is big, so maybe from where they're from is more, it's not like a city like ours, not like a country city like ours. So they have fewer game stores around them, and so it's if they want to play in more armories, they have to travel further, like more than an hour. So so that's something to be thankful for.
For us, it's really kind of like amazing that if you are ever in Singapore, you can play one armory here in this part of the island, and then you can travel to the other part of the island and play the armory that is held later of the day. You might be able to play 4 armories over a weekend. That's how crazy we are. All right. Okay, so how many XP do you need to actually be invited?
Okay, so this one is based off standings. So the cutoff, if I recall, for this Pro Tour was about 400 XP for 90 days. For lifetime, I'm not too sure, because I was only invited from the 90 days XP. Yeah, so 90 days XP means that after 90 days, whatever XP that you got past that will expire, then it won't count anymore. So it requires upkeep, to keep on playing those armories.
All right. So Jin is relatively a younger player as compared to other players that actually have family and then have more commitments. So is that why that you can actually put in more time and effort, not just only grinding out the XP on the gem system, and also to be as good as you can in this game?
I wouldn't say like lack of other commitment is the term, but more like I choose to commit my time to Flesh and Blood. And I mean, in terms of like other stuff outside of Flesh and Blood, I do like have that's why I keep my weekends mostly free. So I really only grind armories during the weekdays. And back when Singapore was in more of a lockdown, there weren't in-store armories. I was playing them online because I was also working from home. So it was very convenient. I could sometimes queue 2 armories in one day, but
Yep.
it's quite rare.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right. So everybody have the same amount of time every day, but why Jin put your effort, your investment in time into Flesh and Blood?
Well, I'm generally quite a competitive player by heart. I came from Magic the Gathering, but that was at a time where I was still a student. So I didn't really have a lot of financial ability to maybe chase the best decks. And Magic has just a very different way of approaching the game, right? Where the cards often get banned, and there's a standard rotation every 2 years. Set will rotate out, and there's a lot of formats in Magic. So to be competitive there, I feel requires a lot more money and also a lot more time. Now, because Flesh and Blood is relatively new, I think that the current price entry for entering the game is a lot lower than Magic. Yeah. And I also think that in terms of the design, Flesh and Blood has a better sense of game design compared to Magic, where most things are just like off the top of your deck. The amount of cards you see in the game of Magic versus the amount of cards you see in the game of Flesh and Blood is very different.
Correct.
And it really rewards more deck building in Flesh and Blood. That's what I feel.
So when did you join Flesh and Blood? It's right from the beginning, or which set that you enter?
Okay, so I think I started after Crucible Unlimited was released. It was somewhere in August 2021. So last year, August. But I haven't really fully gotten into the game yet. I was just playing around with cheap builds. I didn't really spend a lot on the legendary equipment like Tunic, Skullcap. So it was only after 1 month after that, September, that I started actually becoming more competitive in the game. So it depends on where you're looking at it. So I started being competitive let's see,
Tales of Aria.
About 9 months. 9 months.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's 9 months. I mean, 9 months, then you've gotten enough XP to actually be invited to Pro Tour. Wow. That's really something amazing. Okay, so with your experience at New Jersey, with everything that is happening there, what kind of impact that Pro Tour had on you?
Yeah, I definitely think that playing in local armories is not enough. I think that each part of the world has their own way of thinking, has their own sort of meta. Like in Singapore, the Stavo players, which is Bravo style of the show, right? They don't play Eye of Ophidia, right? But in the Pro Tour, we can see lists running Eye of Ophidia making the top 8.
Correct.
And I think that is something most people they don't think about actually using the card because of our own local meta is as such, but
it's almost like
countries,
the eye belongs to Kano. It's sort of the equation just fits nicely. So everybody just fits. Oh, okay. I is actually for Kano. So it caught us by surprise. Actually, the whole community just whoa! Did I see an eye in a Stavo deck? Yeah.
Yeah. So they have their own way of thinking. They have their own different game plan, and it's a really diverse field, and it's really very different. So I guess, So I think that
it's really an eye opener, especially for me. It's in the local scene right here in Singapore. They are very good Lexi players, but they didn't really make it to top 8 or top 4, or they even dwarf themselves, saying that Lexi kind of like a junk deck lah. All right, so you soon will be reaching shore back home. So you were saying that armories in local scene is not enough anymore as a competitive player, but still, you got to stick around with the local game store. You got to stick around with the armories here. So how will this change you?
It's just that we each have our own like way of tackling the meta. So that when I go into a diverse field of players coming from different metas as well, it's just like sometimes you're just like not prepared for it. And I think the lesson here is to like always innovate, look at what other people in other countries are doing, and try to find out like why they are doing certain stuff, like why they're running certain cards in their list, and actually just try them out instead of like, straight away just criticizing that, oh no, this card is strictly worse than another.
Correct.
So because I approached some of these other deck lists with that kind of mindset, and I was actually proven wrong most of the time. So I think that's a huge learning point, and probably one of the biggest takeaways from the Pro Tour.
All right. Okay, among the few wins that Jin actually garnered, right? So one of them is actually he actually beaten the champion before. On day one. Wow. I mean, the champion has very little defeats, and one of them actually belongs to you. So tell us about that match.
Okay, so I was on Chain for the Pro Tour, and he was also playing Chain. So it was a mirror match. The game was actually very close. And at that point of time, what I was thinking was that I was already 0-1, right? I lost to Starvo round 1. So my round 2 was Chain. I was like, I know how this matchup goes. I've played this matchup a lot more, and I'm more confident in the mirror than against Starvo. So I went into it thinking, he's just another Chain player. He's, probably has the same game plan as me. Of course, there are a few key cards that I need to see and not banish away to my shackles, and hopefully, that will allow me to pull advantage. So I was just thinking of this. I was in no way thinking like, this guy might be a very good player, or he might actually win the entire tournament. But it was a very close game. We were both down to 1 life each, and I think what closed the game out was just the arcane damage, as it always is, because when both players don't run any null rune, the only way to prevent it is through Arcanite Skullcap, which is a workaround. You have to be lower life. I think we were both at 1 life, because after I saw the guy Pablo made to top 8, I actually checked my notes. Like I write the life totals down, and I checked that same match. Yeah, we were both down to 1 life, and I think it was the arcane damage from either Rosetta or Invert Existence that got me the win. Yeah. Wow. So it was a very tight match still. Yeah.
Wow. I can imagine the adrenaline rush, and both players will be rushing like, hey, I really need the card that I need. I really has to get this going, and then there's no way that I'm going to stop, because if I stop, even that guy in front of me will going to surpass me. Wow. Wow. Yeah. All right. But nonetheless, proven that Pablo has piloted this deck really well, that actually, sit on the champion's throne. So does that actually inspire you to continue your journey with Chain?
I think, yes. But also the few Kanos that did really well also inspired me, because when I started the game, right, I really liked to play classes that can do stuff at instant speed, and the only class that can really do that is Wizard. But moving into CC, Wizard has always been like an underdog in the format. So I've never really been brave enough to try playing Wizard. So I took the other arcane damage counterpart, which is Rune Blade, to play in CC. and I'm mostly having just playing Moonblade in CC, and for Blitz, it's Wizard. But for this, I think I was both inspired by Pablo's chain list, which runs like 3 yellow Belittles. It's something that, I will also never consider running in my lists, because it just feels like there's just better cards out there that I could play instead of the yellow Belittles, right? So definitely might want to try that out sometime. And also the Kano lists for CC as well. Alexander Vor and Sasha Markovic. Yeah,
Yes.
the both top 8.
These guys are
Kanos.
great. Alexandra is like mad. Is a mad mathematician. It's crazy that the process speed of their brain is like in another world.
Yeah, I think that they definitely went into this tournament thinking like, so Star Wars the best deck and Chain, and they would see also a number of Prism. But it'd probably be like Star Wars would be the most represented deck, followed by Chain and Prism, which was the case, right? You can see the meta game breakdown. And they probably thought, if they were to play any of the 3 decks, right, how would they beat, if let's say they beat the Mirror? So which deck is the most favorite in the Mirror? And I think to them, they just thought, you know what? They all seem very 50-50. So to break that, they brought Kano into a field where people don't really run Arcane Barrier. And Kano has a lot of like on-hit effects, like Sonic Boom, Reverberate, Aether Spindle, Wildfire. So if in this meta where everyone's like being very aggressive, everyone's just trying to look for the best hands, Kano can really mess that up by presenting this like unblockable. Sometimes it's unblockable if you don't run the equipment for it. It's unblockable on hits. Yeah, so I think that's good call by them. That's a very good call. Yeah.
I mean, if there's any way that you can rewatch the match, the featured matches, especially involving Kano, I strongly recommend it that you guys go and watch it. For new players especially, because it might seem that the Wizards are really hard to pilot, but if you ever pull off, I mean, just maybe like 10 arcane damage or even like 8 arcane damage during your opponent's turn, that is very satisfying. It's like it just pull arcane damage out of nowhere. So I strongly recommend it. I too is a Kano player, not a very good one. I try to be, but yeah, it really got me like very hyped. And like, I should just go back to to the field and then to try to master Kano. All right. Okay, so now Jin has finished everything at the Pro Tour. So now it's vacay time or just running straight back to Singapore?
So I plan to visit New York City. So I'll stay for like a few more days before heading back to Singapore. I'll be back probably during the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when I'll probably start preparing for the ProQuests and stuff. Yeah.
I know these guys are coming back for ProQuest once again. All right, but this is no ordinary holidays. People around you must be asking, "Oh, you're going to the US? Where are you going?" Then we're like, "Oh, I spent 3 days playing card games." What was the response before you fly to the US? The response, the people around you.
Well, actually, so I told my parents about the game. They also know that I used to play Magic. And I basically told them, hey, I have a chance at this. I've worked hard. I've played Armories to get to the Pro Tour. And now that, it's here, I want a chance to play professionally, competitively, and like I just told them, hey, I can do this. Locally, I've won skirmishes locally. I've won top 8 competitions there, ProQuest and stuff, and I've gotten back, some of those is prizes. So it's not say a complete like waste of money, as like most Asian parents would think like, oh, playing games waste of money, waste of time. So I showed them that I can make it to the top, make it to compete with the best of the best,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so with that, I kind of just convinced them that, hey, just give me this chance. Let me go
Yeah.
overseas, and
Yeah.
also, have a vacation there as well.
Yeah. You need some rest, but
I'm thankful they're
also,
understanding. Yeah.
and very supportive.
Understanding
That
enough. Yeah.
correct. So that brings me to the last question. Actually,
Mhm.
there are a lot of very good players.
Yeah.
Might because of the commitment or maybe the lack of funds to fly all the way to US, so they
Yeah.
didn't actually jump onto the ship and then
Yeah.
go to New Jersey, right? So,
Yeah.
what would you shout out to the international players that should one day a pro tour or even a calling is held in
Mhm.
Singapore? What will you shout out to them?
Oh, wow. Um, that's an interesting one. I haven't really thought much about it. Um,
Because the scene here in Singapore, it's really competitive. There are
mhm.
quite a few very good players that didn't actually went to the pro tour.
Yeah, I would say watch out for Abby. Right, watch out for Eugene for sure. Right. And always remember to bring 3 Norun equipment if you're playing in Singapore, because there will be wizard players,
Mm.
right? And I think this proto really just showed how dangerous Kano can be if you're not prepared
Yeah,
for dealing with arcane damage more than 3 or 4. Yeah.
yeah. Be prepared. Singaporeans are scary. Okay, and we look forward. We look forward that James White finally decided to help to hold one of them here in
Yeah.
Singapore, and
Yeah,
we
I heard from
shall.
him actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard from him. Yeah.
There are leaks that actually told you guys that he is
Yeah, it's a
actually.
calling.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
a calling
calling.
out. Oh
Yeah, there
my
might be
god.
a calling in Singapore, probably in October. And maybe there might be a pro tour. There will be a pro tour, the third one in the
Mm.
Asia Pacific region. The location
Ah.
is not it's not finalized yet,
Uh.
but it could be in Singapore due to the fact that other countries like Hong Kong, Taiwan
Mm.
currently are under stricter lockdown measures. So
Yep.
they try not to have those countries host the events, or else traveling there will be a hassle as you have to quarantine there for like
Correct.
about a week or two. Yeah.
Correct.
So Singapore will be the next best destination, I hope. And
Mm.
if they can merge the pro tour, the third pro tour, and the calling in Singapore,
Oh
like they did
my.
in New Jersey, yeah, I think that would be really good.
I can see my goosebumps. It's like, hey, whoa, watch
Yeah.
out. Come over here and then we shall show you how good we are. All right.
Yeah.
So with that note, thank you, Jin. And we will expect you home in another week's time. And then
Yeah.
see you at Procrast.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. I'll
All
see you
right.
there too.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you. Bye.